Well, the world has been riveted by Donald Trump's attempts to broker a peace between Russia and Ukraine and Vladimir Zelensky's frenetic diplomacy, both in the United States and in Europe. At the same time, Canada has been navel gazing with our own political internal problems, the Liberal Party putting Parliament on hold till they sort things out. And now we're in a crash election, or we will be in about 48 hours. And of course, the tariffs. And Donald Trump basically takes up all the oxygen in the room, which is different from a few months ago when every day the news was focused on the war between Israel and Hamas. It's almost as if that fell off the front pages, but alas, things are heating back up again. What is going on between Israel and Gaza? What's going on in the region? Is it possible that Donald Trump can have an Abraham Accords round two? He's mused about ideas, some of them creative, like his idea to turn Gaza into a Dubai-like, gem in the Middle East. I'm not sure how realistic that is. Who follows these things closely? Who can we trust to let us know what's actually going on? Well, it's our friend Daniel Pipes. He's the boss of the Middle East Forum, and we're delighted to have him back on the show. Dr. Pipes, great to see you again. I suppose we're here in Canada, and Canada seems so important when you're in Canada, and of course it's important to 40 million Canadians. What happened to the story we were all following until January, namely the war between Israel and Hamas? Has that war started to ratchet up again? What's the status?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Ezra. As you may recall, just before his inauguration, Donald Trump, while still president-elect, pushed through a deal between Israel and Hamas. He really pushed it. I mean, notably, his envoy demanded that Benjamin Netanyahu break the Sabbath to talk to him about the deal. So it was very much pushed through. And it was a complex deal with 3 different stages, many different paragraphs and clauses. The first one was implemented, and the second one was being discussed. And basically what happened is that Israel and Hamas did not come to terms on the second round. And therefore, Israel, a few days ago, restarted the war with Hamas. And therefore, the Houthis in Yemen are threatening to restart the attacks on Red Sea shipping. And therefore, all sorts of other flux is taking place in and around Israel and the Palestinians.
The war is not just being fought in the Middle East. That's where the guns and the bombs and the rockets are being shot. But of course, it's a psychological, political war all around the world. It's been a propaganda battlefield on social media and elsewhere. And it felt like the mood of that psychological battle changed when Trump won in November, because of course he's much less permissive of Islamic terrorism, and basically America being, he's very assertive militarily, and he showed in his first term not to have a lot of patience for Palestinian terrorism. So it felt like the glorious October 7th massacre revolutionaries had a moral setback. At least, I don't know, maybe that's an aesthetic observation that has no ties to what's happening on the ground. I guess another way I'm saying that is it felt like in the November election of Trump, Hamas lost and their momentum would soon be spent. And then, of course, when Hezbollah was decimated and the head of Hezbollah was killed and then Syria fell, it felt like a general collapse of Islamist or terrorist groups. Is Hamas still powerful? What do they still run? I guess I'm trying to separate the propaganda battles, which play out in social media, with the military battles on the ground. How is Hamas doing? Who's running it? What are their weapons like? Who's funding them?
We are absolutely right that towards the end of the Biden administration, the very weak, passive Biden administration, a number of developments took place in the Middle East, very conducive to Israel and indeed American and Western interests more broadly. Then came Donald Trump, even before his presidency, as I just indicated, with this plethora of energy and doing everything all the time. The surprising thing, and really I can't account for it, is that there are two developments in the Middle East that don't make sense to me. One of which is what you're pointing to. Hamas did not go on to do the second stage. From my point of view, this was a good deal for Hamas. Basically, what it did was give the Hamas possession of some 50 Israelis, dead and alive, the ability to foreclose an Israeli attack on Gaza. It looked very good from the Hamas point of view. And simultaneously, Donald Trump has offered to negotiate with the Iranians. And the Iranians are, like Hamas, in a weak position. As you indicated, they lost their ally in Syria. They also lost their air defense network after the Israelis destroyed it in late 2024. They're weak. The rial, their currency, has gone up to nearly $1 million to the US dollar. Everything is looking bad. And yet, abruptly, immediately, the Iranian government said, no, Trump can go jump in a lake. We're not going to discuss anything with him. I would have thought they would negotiate. And the Iranians are known as wily, bizarre rug merchants who would extend the negotiations over weeks and months, yet it didn't happen. So in both cases, Hamas and Tehran chose not to go the negotiating route and therefore opening themselves up to both Israeli and American military action. I can't explain it. I don't know what's going on through their heads. It really does make no sense to me.
Well, help me understand something, and I don't know if you can. I mean, in Canada, our Canadian government, which I think is very much supportive, is one of the most supportive NATO countries in respect of Hamas, just sending tens of millions of dollars more into Gaza. I think a lot of that is going to be either stolen or outrightly just received by Hamas or Hamas-affiliated organizations. Who is actually running things in the Gaza Strip? Is it under Israeli domination? Like, is the border with Egypt sealed? Are there Hamas mayors running around? Are there, like, who's in control of the territory? It doesn't feel like it is pacified or demilitarized. I don't know what it would look like on the ground. It feels like it's unfinished work.
Well, the Israelis appear to have decided not to take control of the territory. It's not that big. It's about 30 kilometers by 20. They could have. They chose not to. They have been engaged in raids, but they have not actually taken control of the territory. And therefore, there's a chaotic quality to it. Hamas, to the best of my understanding, retains control. It doesn't control everything everywhere, but insofar as there is an authority in Gaza, it is not the Israeli Defense Forces, it is Hamas. And the Israelis appear to have allowed this. They appear to have not made efforts to disrupt the Hamas control. So, for example, the aid that you mentioned, Canadian and otherwise, goes to Hamas, which then distributes it, keeps a great deal for itself, whether it be food, fuel, or money, and then distributes some of it to the population at large. But it's Hamas that's in charge. Hamas is still in charge. It has not been destroyed. The Israelis have talked about destroying Hamas. They've talked about total, complete victory. They have not, in fact, from what I can tell at a distance, taken the steps necessary to accomplish those two goals of destruction of Hamas and victory over Hamas.